Welcome into Under the Radar stats, trends that might be riding under your radar. Maybe not noticing them, but can help you in your sports betting endeavors. I'm going to be throwing them out here during baseball season, maybe work in a USFL, the new football league. But either way, we'll get after it on the diamond for this episode. Want to start off with spread betting in Major League Baseball. Of course, that's the run line, plus 1.5 or minus 1.5 with the favorite. You would be laying that 1.5 on the run line. And guys, got a graphic here. 60% year to date. The underdog, the away run line underdog, of course, that's plus 1.5, is hitting 60% year to date. Of course, meaning the home run line favorite, minus 1.5, that is 40% year to date. And it's a trend that, obviously riding 60% against the spread, a profitable endeavor here, and kind of comparing it to past years. Also here, we got straight up home underdogs just hitting 39% year to date, meaning straight up home favorites hitting 61% year to date. And I threw that up just to kind of put into contrast here. It's not like a year where it's exponentially underdogs are, winning at an abnormal rate, anything like that, just straight up. It's actually they're winning at an abnormal rate against the spread. So with the run line, plus 1.5. And, I've kind of noticed this over the last couple years that more people are betting the run line favorites. And that might be part of the reason. Got a graphic here in terms of why is this happening? Why are the away run line plus 1.5 underdogs cashing at such an alarming rate so far this season? Now, granted, we're only 12 games in, so the sample size, 12-ish games, some teams more than others, but 12-ish games in, and the sample size isn't that large, but sometimes you can jump on these trends and really make some money, pad your bankroll for the season. So, hey, why is this happening? I came up with a couple reasons why. Would love to hear from you guys down below in the reply section why you think it's happening. If you agree with me, maybe I'm leaving out a couple reasons. I listed 4 here that I think part of the reason why. It could be a combination of all 4. Hey, who knows? I could be off on this. But the 4 reasons why. Number 1, legalized sports betting is attracting more bettors that want to lay runs with the favorite. Of course, that means sports bettors, particularly the newer sports bettors, the more quote unquote public square sports bettors, like to win. They like that feeling of winning, minus 160 favorites, minus 180 favorites, things of that nature to just get in the win column. However, it might not be profitable long term. And I think that's part of the reason why legalized sports betting is becoming more prevalent. And the newer sports bettors are wanting to lay numbers with the favorite. Now, they're also, in my opinion, wanting to lay the run line more at that minus 1.5. So, that was number 1 for me. Another reason might be different baseballs this year in 2022. It also is a little bit correlated with more unders than overs so far this season. We're having lower scoring games, lower hard hit rates. Guys aren't hitting the baseball as far. Granted, there's some moonshots this year, but over the long course of rating how many hits so far this season, the hard hit rate is down so far this year. That could be because of a couple different reasons. Maybe the baseball, maybe for whatever reason, spring training not being as long. Maybe it's colder out there and the ball's not traveling as far. But different baseballs, that's something to watch here. And it's not really public knowledge. A couple years ago, they changed the baseballs. There was 2 baseballs in 1 year. And it wasn't like MLB, Rob Manfred. Can't always count on him for everything here. That wouldn't surprise me here. We got humidifier in more ballparks. Now, that was a known thing coming into this year. A number of ballparks added that. A lot of times, it kind of depends where the ballpark is with the humidifier, how much it affects the ball traveling, but that could be one here. That's number 3. Number 4 that kind of caught my attention. Big market teams like the LA Dodgers here. Everybody loves the Dodgers, or I don't know about everybody loving the Dodgers as a fan perspective, but it seems out there that they're attracting a lot of betting money here. And of course, the Dodgers are a great team, a lot of big names out there. Dodger Stadium seems to be always full, and they're covering run lines at an abnormally high rate. And I think that might be skewing bettors' sentiment, meaning, people see the Dodgers cover. I believe they're entering. I did all these stats, guys, that we'll go over here in a second, going into the Wednesday night baseball card. And the Dodgers were 9-3 against the run line. And of course, last year they were a moneymaker too. So this is kind of a longer term trend of teams like the Dodgers covering the run line. So overall, it might be kind of skewing the sentiment here that more public bettors want to be betting on that and thinking they're winning, money at a higher rate than, say, the long term is really telling us here. Because, again, going back to away run line underdogs covering at 60%, the home run line favorites covering at 40%. Also need to throw out here, guys, in terms of laying the run line, I have talked to multiple sportsbook directors out there. One currently at a Las Vegas sportsbook directing it, and another one who's out of the business but did it for a very long time. And both of them, kind of off the record, told me personally, run line favorites, they welcome that type of money. It's one of the more squarer bets on the card. A couple reasons why being bettors in baseball like that winning feeling, like betting on good teams and are just more willing to lay that run line. But also fundamentally, structurally speaking of the game of baseball, you got to put yourself in the perspective of the team that's, say, up. I'll give you an example here. And this happens more than you would really think it does. Let's say the favorite on the run line is at home and it's the top of the ninth inning. They're up 3-1. And there's a runner on first base or second base, and they go and steal the next base. And you'll hear the announcer say, oh, defensive indifference. Yes, maybe it's a defensive indifference to the home team, because if they're up 3-1, that run isn't really going to matter. But to your bet on the run line, that is anything but defensive indifference. That can affect you a lot. So sure enough, if there's only 1 out, 0 outs, and that guy comes around to score, your run line is toast. Not to mention, if you're a run line favorite, it is 9 at-bats to 8 at-bats. So you have 3 less outs. Your opponent gets 27 outs. You only get 24 outs, and you still got to win by more than 1 run. So there's a couple things working against you. And yes, a lot of that is factored into the line. I personally think not all of it is. So did want to throw that out there, guys. Also, any ideas why? Feel free to reply below. If you kind of disagree with me on any of these aspects, hey, I'm open to finding reasons why. My plan coming into the season as a bettor here is to kind of go over these stats, around the 10-game mark, around the 20-game mark, 30-game mark, 40-game mark. What trends here in MLB are happening for a reason? We had a lot of changes, the DH coming into the NL, in terms of, the extra inning rules, things of that nature, plus the fact the shortened spring training, the strike. How is this affecting teams out the gate? We can hop on a couple of these and make some money. So guys, I'll be recapping this. Of course, this is the first show for the MLB season. We did under the radar. This is the first year, and last season was, of course, college basketball. Took a couple weeks off just to kind of get some of these stats. I didn't really know what was going to happen in terms of under the radar. So did want to throw this one out that caught my eye at around the 12-game-ish mark. So did want to throw out a team that this weekend, I know a lot of people out there like picks, on the WagerTalk YouTube channel, got to throw something out there. So one team I got here that I pinpointed in terms of might be making some money under the radar going forward this upcoming weekend. The New York Mets, off to a hot start, coming into Wednesday night, I believe 9-3. But really, we're going after this from a run line perspective. And the Mets are 3-0 as away underdogs on the run line. And sure enough, they're at Arizona this weekend. If they qualify here as an underdog in any of these games, it's kind of hard to judge because the pitching matchups aren't for sure. And we're more than 24 hours away from first pitch of the first game. So I can't project what lines, but I'll tell you this. If the Mets are qualifying here as the away run line underdog, which if they're the underdog, that's how the betting markets work. They'll also be the run line underdog. I'm going to be betting it. So I'll keep track of that. We'll come back and recap how they did. Now, granted, guys, they might not go off as the underdog. And if they don't, of course, no bet. Get your money back. You don't even have to put your money up in that case. But I am looking to be betting on the Mets. Of course, hey, some of the reason why I believe they're getting some underdog on the run line love is because some of their starting pitchers have been banged up. So other guys are stepping up and stepping in here as starting pitchers at a plus price. And sure enough, 100% against the run line as the dog is popping up here for the Metropolitans. So something to watch there. Mets at Arizona this weekend. Guys, got to recap it here from the college basketball season. Been doing this all year. Last show, 1-0. We did win that one. UNC +4 did sprinkle a little bit there on the money line, but for record-keeping purposes, the Tar Heels beating Duke in that Final Four. That brought our overall record to 17-15, 53% on the year. Really nothing to brag about, but of course, doing this for free on the WagerTalk YouTube channel, plus 0.7 units. So $100 better, up $70. So hey, a little free entertainment and a little bit of cash in your pocket if you were tailing. So we'll look to hopefully get the Mets here as the Runline underdog this upcoming weekend in Arizona in the desert there. And hey, maybe look to add some units onto that record. So guys, appreciate everybody joining in. Feel free to reply below where you agree, where you disagree. All welcomed here. And really, why is this happening in terms of Runline underdogs is what I'm really interested in. Different ideas out there of why it's happening. Of course, legalized sports betting is one reason. Different baseballs in 2022 could be another reason. Humidifier in more ballparks. Big market teams like the Dodgers covering more. The shortened spring training. All those reasons we talked about earlier in the show. Are reasons why I think it could be happening, but nonetheless, it's happening. I'm looking to bet on it. We're looking to cash on it right here under the radar. I'm Drew Martin. Check me out on Twitter at Drew Martin Bets, experts page at WagerTalk.com as well. So guys, signing out here. Hopefully helped you a little bit in terms of what you're looking at on the diamond. We'll be back in the future recapping this video and looking towards some more trends and angles that might be riding under the radar. Thanks for tuning in. Please smash that like button. Best of luck with your bets.